My Etsy store failed. And I hate creating these kind of videos because at the end of the day, who wants to fail? Sure, I can keep up the facade and only let you know when good things happen, but that wouldn't really be genuine. And everyone fails here and there, and it's totally okay. Other people in this print-on-demand industry might have failed as well. The reason I decided to make this video is because I personally find these kind of videos that I watch from other creators really valuable. Knowing why someone failed allows you to know what to avoid when you attempt that same task. Now, as you are all trying to succeed with business or print on demand, I thought that this video could actually be helpful for two reasons. One, well, I hope it's going to help you avoid these 3 giant mistakes that I'm going to cover in this video. And two, I hope it makes you realize that everyone, even those that see a lot of success, do also fail. And there's nothing wrong with it. Anyone who works for themselves understands how real the struggle is sometimes. There's no one giving you that steady paycheck. And if you don't make sales one month, well, you just can't afford the bills that month. It's incredibly scary, and it's a feeling that I've had many times. I've been doing this solopreneur thing, or whatever you want to call it, for over 10 years now. Only recently did I decide to join a larger company, and I was so curious what that feeling of a steady income would be like, to not having the worry or the anxiety to be making enough money. Now, there are things one should do if they work for themselves, like having a buffer in case some months are slow, you know you're still covered, or having a backup plan if something goes wrong, or maybe even having some assets that you could potentially sell if you are in a tight spot and you just need some money. But as we're on the topic of failure, I want to go over why my Etsy store ultimately failed. What mistakes did I make? What could you avoid? And hopefully you learn something quite valuable by watching this video. Number 1, consistency. This is something that I was absolutely terrible at, except for YouTube, where I was at this point in time able to make a video every single day of the week. For some reason, I just wasn't able to transfer that skill or that drive, I should say, that drive to consistently upload onto a platform like Etsy. I mean, just business in general, I was jumping from thing to thing and I wasn't able to kind of stick in one lane and just go for it. I just wanted to kind of try everything. With Etsy, I wasn't uploading designs consistently. It was very scattered, it was very random, and it just seems to be Etsy, because I was okay with other print-on-demand companies, Amazon, Shopify, and various others. I was lazy and I just got distracted at every single turn. I think what it was with Etsy is I just didn't enjoy the process, the uploading process, the whole Etsy process. It's confusing, it's cumbersome, it's messy, and quite frankly, it's not like other platforms at all. And because it would take so long to upload a design, well, I just didn't do it, right? I did it sometimes, but again, it wasn't consistent. It was so infrequent. It barely happened. So it's no surprise that this is a huge factor in the downfall of my Etsy store. If you don't upload products, well, how are you supposed to get sales? There are, of course, other factors which I'm going to talk about in this video, but I think this one was the core of the problem, which is why I wanted to start here. So if you're not seeing success, ask yourself, how consistent are you being? Are you uploading every day? Are you spending half an hour or an hour every single day designing and uploading to Etsy? Because if you're not, that could be one of your crippling factors to why you're not getting sales. Like any business, The thing that motivates you the most is seeing success. That's getting customers and getting sales. But because print on demand can be such a slow business, having the motivation to continue despite not getting sales is incredibly difficult. If you are someone that has persevered through this, continued, been consistent and not got any sales, well, firstly, pause this video and give yourself a round of applause because you deserve that. It's an unbelievably difficult task, and it says a lot about your character if you are able to do this. You are going to overcome this hurdle and you are going to start getting sales if you haven't already. So be honest with yourself. Ask yourself, how long have you been trying and how long have you been grinding? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm curious what everyone thinks, what everyone's been doing. Number 2 is research. Well, with this one, I wasn't even following my own advice. Specifically with Etsy, I would research designs for Amazon, for Shopify, for running advertisements on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok. But when it came to Etsy, I was just blindly uploading designs. I didn't really conduct any design research, keyword research, product research. I was lazy and I was cocky. And I just thought, my designs are genius. They're definitely going to get sales. Yeah, I was wrong with that one. No matter how good you think you are or how good you think your designs are, you need to do the proper research. You need to make sure that your designs are actually wanted. And of course, you need to make sure that you're using popular keywords that people are actually searching for. Because what is the point in spending time creating a design and uploading it if you have absolutely no idea if that design is going to do well or if anyone even wants that design? I have come up with many ideas, thinking they're my golden ticket, uploading them, going to bed and thinking when I wake up there's going to be thousands and thousands of sales. Does this sound familiar? Have you ever done that? Now, don't get me wrong. Sometimes it did happen. Not with thousands of sales, but I would sometimes wake up to a few hundred sales. And it was the best feeling ever. However, most times I would wake up and it was like being hit with a ton of bricks. But not literally, that would be really weird. Can you imagine waking up, taking your duvet off, and suddenly just a ton of bricks hit you? That would be weird. But what did happen is I was hit with the realization that I had failed and that design failed. And that is ultimately a terrible way to start your day, because not only do you need to just motivate yourself to work and get up and do something that day, if you do this, you also need to motivate yourself enough to get out of that funk of, I failed, I suck, I'm terrible, I can't do this, this is all a big waste of time. So just don't put yourself in that position ever. Try doing something really positive before going to bed. Maybe read a chapter of a book you're liking, whether it's a business book or fiction, non-fiction, doesn't matter. Maybe listen to a part of a podcast that you're liking, or maybe just sit there, think, and just imagine and take notes, and then you can just reflect on those notes and those thoughts the following morning for 15-20 minutes. This is really good for the law of attraction, where you want to kind of think of how you want your life to go and how you want your life to be, and the more you think it, the more you can make it a reality. I know this sounds a bit wishy-washy, but for the most part, it's actually true. Number 3 is imposter syndrome. This is a really, really big one for me, and it goes a lot deeper than just a simple Etsy store. However, it is all linked, and you may be feeling this as well. Imposter syndrome is the internal psychological experience of feeling like you are a phony in some areas of your life, despite any success that you may have achieved in that area. Having a YouTube channel where I talk about business and making money and print on demand and how to succeed only increases this feeling, because if I don't succeed, if I don't perform, then I feel like a fraud, right? I feel like an imposter, and it's such a weird feeling because no one can perform at 100% all the time. I know this is ridiculous, but I feel like a lot of people have this. Maybe not with YouTube, but with family or with friends, where you have these expectations where you feel like everyone is looking at you when actually no one's looking at you. Everyone's kind of doing their own thing and trying to succeed in their own way. But maybe you have that where you feel like everyone is looking at you and you need to perform, you need to succeed at all times. But no one can perform and no one can succeed all the time. Jeff Bezos failed with pets.com. Bill Gates failed with his first startup, Traf-O-Data. Warren Buffett failed with his purchase of New England Textiles. Mark Zuckerberg failed with Wirehog. These are all successful billionaires who failed at some point in their life. So failure is very normal and it's very okay. This mental block and this feeling of imposter syndrome made making this video even harder, because it was accepting defeat, when in reality I need to be succeeding. I need to be coming up with ideas because I'm trying to create helpful videos to help you with your businesses. And ultimately that is why I decided to make this video, to touch upon these 3 issues and hopefully help you if A, you feel like you're having them, or B, if you want to start and you want to know what to avoid and what's okay and what's not okay. There's a lot more to this third problem, and quite frankly I can probably make an entire video on it, but I didn't want to go too deep into this idea of imposter syndrome. The way I see getting over it for myself is to try and be a guide more of the time and less of a guru, if that makes sense. I want to do things, I want to try things, I want to experiment. Some will work, some won't work. And I just want to make videos and report on everything so that you can see what works, what doesn't work, and everything in between. According to Dr. Valerie Young, there are 5 types of imposter syndrome, which I've put up on the screen. Have a look, see if you relate to any of them, and if you do, well, let me know in the comments down below. There's a way around it. You don't have to let it hold you back. Maybe that could be one of the issues that you're having. There are other reasons why the store failed, like relying on Etsy to do all the traffic, not breaking down numbers properly. Ultimately though, the 2 biggest ones was the consistency and the research. If you research and create good designs that people want consistently, then you should very much be getting sales. And if you think you're already doing that, but you're not getting sales, then I would suggest rethinking everything from the ground up. Just redo your strategy, rethink your research, rethink your designs, rethink your audience and your Etsy shop and everything, and break it down bit by bit to see if maybe you went wrong somewhere, or if maybe you can improve in a certain area. Maybe something just isn't good enough, but that doesn't mean giving up. That just means going back to the drawing board and trying again. Personally, I have learned a lot from this experience, and will it happen again? Probably. I'm 28. I expect to fail a lot throughout my life. However, will I make it work? For sure. Will I make Etsy work? 100%. I'm going to go and attack Etsy. I'm going to do this properly, and I'm going to document doing this properly. I've got a really, really cool idea in mind to keep myself accountable and to also help you create a successful print-on-demand business, because that's what I've done many, many times. And I found various ways to get lots and lots of sales with print-on-demand, despite Etsy not doing what I hoped. And I want to try and tell you and share with you as much of that as possible. Before I end, I just want to quickly say, quitting is the true definition of failure. If you're done with Etsy or you're done with print on demand, then adapt. but just don't quit. Don't let a few failures make you quit. You've got this. You can do it. You know, I believe in you believe in you, your family believes in you. You can 100% make this work. I hope this did help, and I hope you learned from my mistakes, but also learned that I'm going to share everything, whether it's good, whether it's bad. I just want to try and give as much value as possible all the time. Now, if you do want to try something else besides Etsy, or maybe you want to do Etsy, but you want to try other platforms as well, then check this video out here where I go over a whole bunch of different print-on-demand platforms, how much traffic they have, are they any good to use, and whether or not, you should be putting your designs on them. So check that video out next.